welcome back to DebugSitecore. In today's video, we will explore how a user request flows through a Sitecore Headless setup using JSS and Next.js. By end of this video, you will understand exactly how a page is built, rendered, and delivered step by step. Let's start right away. So in traditional Sitecore, everything like content, layout, and rendering happens inside one big system. But in a headless world, your front end built with React or Next.js is separate, and Sitecore simply delivers content and layout data through APIs. So knowing how the complete lifecycle works helps you debug performance issues, optimize data calls, and structure your projects better. So let's go through the high-level journey of a request in a Sitecore headless setup. So firstly, let's suppose that the user requests a page, say an about page. Then the Next.js app receives the request. Then Next.js calls Sitecore Layout Service or GraphQL endpoint to fetch layout and content JSON. Sitecore resolves the route, builds the layout, applies personalization, and sends back structured data. Then Next.js maps those components to React components and renders the HTML. The rendered HTML is sent to browser and React hydrates it for interactivity. This is simply powerful and the entire flow happens in milliseconds. How exciting is that? Now let's look inside what actually happens in a JSS plus Next.js application. So first is your middleware stage. Before page rendering, middleware like middleware.ts, it intercepts the request and then it can modify headers, redirect user, or inject site context such as language or authentication tokens. In case of server-side rendering in the Next.js, catch all route. There is this pages path.tsx, the getServerSideProps function, which actually executes on server, and it makes the call to layout service or GraphQL endpoint to fetch content and layout for the requested route. Then comes your Sitecore processing. So Sitecore receives this request, resolve the content item for that path, builds the layout like placeholder and components, applies personalization, and then returns the JSON. Now, the very important part is your component rendering. So back in Next.js, the component factory maps each Sitecore component name like hero banner or let's suppose content block to its React component. These components receive content fields as props, get assembled into the layout, and finally HTML is generated and sent to the browser. Now let's talk about some debugging and optimization tips. Okay, so you have this function like enable debug logs. So you have to say like debug is equal to Sitecore JSS star in your terminal, right? Or local storage or debug is equal to JSS star in your browser. So this is one of the ways. And then you can use console logs like getServerSideProps to track API request responses definitely. And then check network calls to Sitecore layout or GraphQL endpoints to ensure caching and data fetching are optimized. On cloud platforms like Vercel, use their request logging and edge function analytics to detect bottlenecks. Now let's conclude. And like this was, I think, the complete Sitecore headless request lifecycle from users, right from starting from user request to Next.js to Sitecore and back to the browser. If this video has helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to DebugSitecore. Drop a comment on which next topic you want me to create a video. Thank you.